gonna let that finish and bring to a boil for about, let's say about. Hello everyone and welcome to Cook with Rose. So today we're gonna go ahead and do a shrimp. We're gonna do shrimp today. So we haven't done one on the show yet. So we're gonna do a shrimp recipe. It's gonna be my Camarones Diabla. Camarones Diabla. So it's gonna be on the spicy side. Again, you can pretty much put the same ingredients together depending on how much of the Chile Japones that you want to put. I'm actually gonna get this blended and then put it in the pan, and we're gonna cook our sauce first. Very similar to what I've done before with when I've made the sauce for the chili rellenos. So I'm gonna be adding some bell pepper, onions, some garlic cloves. Get that all softened up in vegetables, and then add my chili to that, and then I'm gonna let it simmer for about a good 30 minutes, just so I can get that right spice to that. So again, let's go ahead and get started. We're gonna be making Camarones A La Diabla. All right, so for what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna make my, base of my chili. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and take, I counted them out. There's like 25 Chile Japones in there. So I did 25 of these to start off with. And then I'm going to go ahead and add some of my ingredients. So I'm gonna put a tablespoon of garlic in there. I'm going to put about 1, 2, 3 teaspoons of salt. So I just want to get my chili and some of my spices in there just to get started. And I'm going to go ahead and just ground this into a powder. So I'm going to put that on, and let's see here. Okay, so I got that into a nice, good grounded powder. Now I'm going to go ahead and add my add some water to this. So I'm going to add 3 cups of water. Wrong lid. And now I'm going to actually sample this to see where we're at for taste. Okay, so it has a nice spicy flavor to it. So now I'm going to add some tomato sauce to it. Now I'm going to add some Roman tomatoes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I added all right, so what I just did is I created my base for what I'm going to use for my sauce. I'm going to go ahead now and grill the, and to soften the bell peppers and the onions. All right, so we're heating up a pan of oil. I would say about a little more than a tablespoon of oil. So we got that ready. So we're going to go ahead and take I just took 1 bell pepper and a onion in there. So I'm going to lower down the heat just a little bit on that. Okay, and then just go ahead and put a lid on that. Let that soften for about and simmer for about 4 or 5 minutes, and you notice how the veggies are just getting nice and caramelized and brown on there. So now we're ready to go ahead and add our mix here that we just did. So I'm going to go ahead and put this back on high because I wanted to bring it to a boil. And I'm just going to pour that right on there. There you go. All right, so now I have my sauce, and now what I'm gonna do here is just find the seasoning that I want to use for this. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is add some chicken broth to this. So I'm gonna add that's about a shy of half of a tablespoon of chicken broth. So chicken broth, because I'm gonna get this to a boil, and then I'm gonna add my cuminos. So I'm going back to some of the basic stuff that I use. Again, that's probably a half a teaspoon there. Not very much, just enough to give it that taste that I usually have in all of my dishes. So I want to go ahead and bring that to a boil, and then the only thing I want to also test this out, and then that's for salt. So salt is probably there, but I'm gonna add about another 2 teaspoons of salt. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and let that simmer, bring it to a boil here, and then we're gonna check back on this. Now we're just gonna go ahead and make brown rice, but we're gonna do it with the Spanish flavor. So I know a lot of you guys have, we did the cauliflower one. Sometimes we just look for options. I've actually never made this before, but I'm gonna use the same concept that I've done with the cauliflower rice. So I know what I know is I've already boiled my rice. So these are those 10-minute, you can get the Uncle Ben or minute brown rice. So I already boiled it 10 minutes. So that's where we're gonna start from here. So I added a cup of water there to start off with. So a cup of water, and I'm gonna add a half a cup, maybe just a little bit more of tomato sauce. Remember, I want to go as light as possible. And now I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna add my chicken broth, which is gonna be about maybe a little more than a couple of teaspoons, not too much. I'm gonna add a little bit of cuminos, maybe a half a teaspoon, not even that, a quarter, and then a little bit of garlic. So I've actually made my base for the brown rice, how I would normally make my Spanish rice. The same seasonings and ingredients, and I'm actually gonna taste it just to see where we're at. Okay, perfect. So now let me go ahead and add the rice. I want this to evaporate as fast as possible once I put the rice in there. So there's rice 1, bag number 2. I'm gonna leave it on high. I actually have a leftover bag that I had from last time, so there's that on top. So it's kind of high. I'm gonna throw that right on the top. I know that when the rice is pretty much done when it's already boiled in a bag. So all I'm gonna do right now is just let this simmer. I'm gonna let this simmer here and dry out. All I really want this to do is just dry out and get a little flaky. So rice is almost done. Now we're gonna go ahead and check on our sauce. Remember, we put this to simmer and it's just about 30 minutes. And so as you can see, the veggies have really softened. They're just there. And now we have this really delicious paste that salsa that we're going to use to add to our shrimp. So there it is. Okay, so now we're ready to... Now, the way I cook my shrimp is I actually cook it first in butter, and then I add it to whatever I am making with the dish. So let's go ahead and put this off to the side. That's done. Slide this one over. Get this up on some heat. I would say probably about a medium heat. I'm gonna go ahead and add 2 tablespoons of butter. There we go. Butter's in. Make sure I have an extra. And then here, I'm just gonna add some garlic. So let me do 1, 2 tablespoons of garlic. Make sure that's on a high heat. Okay, so I've let that simmer for a little bit. Pretty much get it. The last thing I want to do is overcook the shrimp. So I got it nice and pink on both sides. That's marinating there in that garlic base that I put in there with some butter. So now my shrimp is ready for me to go ahead and add my sauce. Let me go ahead and turn that fire off. And now I'm gonna add to my Diablo base. Because what I'm really gonna do is just let this sit for about another 10 minutes. So I'm gonna let this cook on high, boil it. And now after that, I'm gonna let it sit for about another 10 minutes before I even serve it. So then that way the flavor of the chilies are captured. Shrimp is done. All right, so that is our recipe for today. So we're gonna go ahead and now sample what we made. And we got some of this Camarones A La Diabla today, and some of our rice. So again, this is what we got going on today. So we have our Diabla. Oh, that one has butter. Let me go ahead and use a spoon. So we got the Shrimp A La Diabla. There you go. So it's not too spicy, it's just right. It has just a little bit of a spice to it. Again, with all these recipes, you can always take or add to them. And now today was something that I haven't made before, ever. And that was making Spanish rice from brown rice. So remember, we just boil the rice, like it says, 10-minute rice, boil it. And then what I just would add the seasoning that I would normally add, some water, you know, your chicken broth. That is really good. The reason why a lot of people don't like brown rice is because of the texture. Sometimes I think they undercook it. So when they undercook it, it doesn't fluff up enough. And that's the reason why a lot of people are, you know, don't take to brown rice. So this brown rice tastes almost just like my Mexican rice. So again, don't be afraid to try recipes all the time. Try something different, try something new. You'll be surprised by some of the things that you can, you know, make and learn on your own. So again, thanks for watching Cook with Ro. Thanks for subscribing. And again, your comments are always appreciated. So again, provecho, enjoy, and bon appetit.